Alright, y'all, let's get into episode 16 of The Drop. Y'all ready? It's lit.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Bright here, the R&B Kid, and I'm back again with another episode of The Drop for y'all. Like I said, this is episode 16 of The Drop. Welcome. So this setup is different today. I usually do film in the living room, but my mom has a lot going on in the living room right now, so I'm really not about to move a bunch of stuff and do all that for y'all. I'm sorry. So we're not doing it today. Today we're gonna do my regular setup right here. And I still do have food, even though y'all really can't see. I'm sorry, but I'm eating deep dish pizza from Uno's, if you can see that right there. I forgot what it's called, but I think it's like the everything pizza. Got everything, the veggies, sausage, everything on it, and some pieces of corn, some knobs of corn, and I got an apple right here as well. You know, a little basic lunch, you know, for y'all. So yeah, I'm still eating on this episode, but y'all can't really see the plate, but I'm still eating. So hope y'all been doing good. How y'all been during this freaking heat wave? How are y'all doing? God damn. I feel musty and gross and hot and stank and just tired every damn day because of this heat wave. I'm over it, but you know, summer's a vibe too, so it's all good. And I'm alive, thank God. And speaking of that, I just wanted to give a I already tweeted about it and I put it on my social media, but I have to give some condolences and just a mention for two of our kings, two of our legends in our community. I want to give a rest in peace and a rest in power to Mr. John Lewis and to Mr. C.T. Vivian, two pioneers of the civil rights movement and two kings in our community who fought for, you know, the disadvantaged and marginalized black people around the world for generations. Their deaths occurred on the same day, I believe last Friday. And when I heard the news, I was not in shock because they both lived beautiful long lives, but I was just really disheartened and saddened by their deaths because it just seems like we needed people like John Lewis and C.T. Vivian, you know, now more so than ever with everything going on, and especially with the upcoming Million Man March that I plan to attend later in August in DC. I would have loved for them to have been there for that occasion, but it's okay. They both live beautiful long lives, and I just want to give I send my condolences to their families, and just a rest in power to both of these kings who really have done so much for the liberation of black people all around the world and not just in America. So thank you to John Lewis and C.T. Vivian for the beautiful lives you guys lived. Thank you for all you did for us. And yeah, let's move on with the show. All right, y'all. So first thing I want to talk about, I have a bunch of stuff to talk about today's episode. I'm trying not to make it too long, but you know, there's a lot of stuff going on these days. I can't deal with the way the world is these days. There's so much going on, but I'm gonna try and talk about it. I'm gonna try and get to it. First things first, let's talk about Fatal Affair. Ooh, this piece is good. Alright. So Fatal Affair came out this past weekend, starring Nia Long and Omar Epps. You know, in the vein of like a Fatal Attraction, Obsessed. You know, we've seen No Good Deed. I forgot the other movies. Like, we've seen this movie time and time again with the successful woman who meets, like, you know, this other successful black man who's dope, and they catch a vibe, or they knew each other in a past life or something like that. And man, I was not planning to watch that movie at all, but I kept hearing so much about it, so I was like, you know, I said, F it. I watched it on Netflix last weekend, bro. When I tell you, it was supposed to be like a thriller, you know, type movie, but I was laughing the entire time. Shout out to Nia Long, shout out to Omar Epps. I love y'all. Y'all are two of our best in the black acting space. Y'all are still legends in my eyes. But damn, y'all really collected a check and bounced, because the way Omar Epps and Nia Long just phoned in that whole movie, and the fact that Nia Long has her name on it because she helped produce it, I was so mad. I'm like, Nia Long, why did you put your name on this trash ass movie? But it's one of those movies that it's so bad that it's so good at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't that mad that I wasted my time watching it, because it really was so bad that it was good to watch. It was funny as hell. Watching Omar Epps just be this, like, you know, villainous, like, creep, like bipolar, like murderer. It was really interesting, and it was just a really funny movie. So yeah, man, let me know what y'all thought about Fatal Affair on Netflix. I was so hyped for Nia Long and Omar Epps. I'm like, oh, they're about to reunite on screen, and they're about to give us a different side of them, like in this thriller space. And that movie was so phoned in. It was a trash movie, so trash. That the script was horrible. And at one point, I didn't even notice it, but at one point, somebody on Twitter noticed that Nia Long was holding her phone upside down in like 2 scenes, and I was like, damn, like I didn't even notice that. But yeah, that movie was bad. It was phoned in. It was just put together in such a bad way. The sequencing didn't make sense. The way like Omar Epps like killed the daughter's boyfriend out of nowhere, and they never went around to like talking about that, and like the ending with him just like dying off that cliff, like it was just so weird. Such a trash movie, but it was one of those movies that like I loved because I was laughing the entire time. Like it really did give me entertainment. Maybe not the way that they intended it to, but it still gave me so much entertainment. Such a funny movie, I swear to God. I swear to God. Woo. Alright, now let's talk about Miss Jada Pinkett-Smith and Mr. Will Smith and Mr. August Alsina. Augs. Oh, yo, this fly is really out here. Yo, there's a fly in this house that's really flying around, y'all. Big as hell, so I wish you would leave me alone. So yes, if you see a fly flying around, I'm sorry, y'all. But yeah, listen, y'all, here's my thoughts on this whole August Alsina and Will and Jada Pinkett-Smith thing. Honestly, at the end of the day, it's really none of our business, and that's how I feel. It's sad that we're living in a time now where things like this have to be used to sell albums. August, you know, there has to be talking points when everyone is bored in the middle of a pandemic, and I get it. This apparently is the summer blockbuster of 2020. Was this whole, you know, entanglement saga. But honestly, it really was none of our business. But here's my thoughts on it. I think for people who think Jada Pinkett-Smith was a predator, I get that, and I think that's a strong word to use for her, because obviously August Alsina is grown, and he obviously wanted to be in their entanglement or relationship too. But there definitely is a lot to be said for the fact that obviously August was very broken when they first started, like, you know, building their relationship. August was a very broken dude. With everything that, oh, this corn is good. With everything that he's been through in his life, he was a very broken guy when they first met. So while I don't think Jada had the worst of intentions getting with him, at least that's not what it seems like, it just wasn't a good look on her part, you know, with her being almost twice his age. It just wasn't a good look. But they were both grown and consenting adults, so it is what it is. But I also don't like the way August, like, first of all, came at Keke Palmer when that wasn't needed. And I don't like the way he tried to play off, like, the fact that, like, he wasn't, like, you know, preyed on. Because I feel like he was in a way. Like I said, I think predator is a strong word, but I also do think we need to acknowledge that while he might not have felt like a victim, he kind of was victimized in a way. He definitely was preyed on, you know, in a way. So I think we need to acknowledge that, even though August hasn't acknowledged it yet. And Will Smith, that's the king, man. Y'all need to stop clowning Will Smith. At the end of the day, there's so many people out here who have had relationships where, you know, they were open and stuff was going on behind the scenes that nobody knew about. But yeah, these types of things happens every day. There are relationships going on that y'all never know about. So this is really an everyday thing. But I think it's sad that we're clowning Will Smith, because at the end of the day, Will Smith is a king, and he really, if the tables were turned and if this was Will doing what Jada did, it will be a whole different story. So we all need to stop clowning Will Smith, and we need to have way more empathy for him and the fact that he had to go through this in the public eye, knowing this is something that they both dealt with and kind of like put to bed a while ago. But I also think we also need to put the Smiths to the fire, because I'm very disappointed in the way they kind of steamrolled over the whole Red Table Talk. They really danced around everything, which I wasn't happy about. At the end of the day, it was in their best interest to really spin the narrative to their, you know, to their liking, and they did that successfully with, you know, because of the power and influence that they have. They were able to really spin their narrative and really set their own narrative on their own platform, and they were successful at it. But I don't like how they, especially Jada, didn't really acknowledge and really tackle the serious trauma and the serious, like, murkiness and messiness of what this whole situation entailed, especially on her end. You know, she said, you know, her and Will was separated, which is fine, but Jada didn't really address the fact that she really was with a dude that was like, that could be her son, She never really clarified whether or not they were having sex. She just said it was an entanglement. Like, I didn't really, I understand it was an embarrassing situation, but I don't like how Jada didn't really take accountability for anything that was really happening. She, you know, she, in her usual, you know, roundabout, you know, I'm gonna talk around what's happening way. It works when you're the one counseling somebody, but when you're the one on the red table and it's about you, she should have done a better job of really explaining and articulating what actually happened. Since they decided to bring it out, like, y'all could have kept quiet if y'all wanted to, but since y'all decided to bring it out, she should have had way more accountability as to what was going on with that whole thing, in my opinion. And Will somewhat too. I think that they were both, you know, picking every word to say. They were trying to pick the right things to say, which I understand. They were picking the words so carefully, but this was a time for y'all to have really shown that, you know, no one is perfect, because they really have painted this picture of them being the perfect Black Hollywood family, and they are a dope family, but no one is perfect, and we all have our skeletons and we all have our bullshit behind closed doors. So I think it would have been a great time for them to set an example and say, hey, listen, this happened to us. Jada really messed up. She did this. Will, you know, I sat back and I let it happen. Maybe that wasn't the best thing to do, but at the time we were in a bad space. You know, I just feel like they could have really talked about it in a much better way than kind of just joking about it and saying, yo, you know, we ride together, we die together, bad marriage for life, ha ha ha. Like, nah, it's like, nah, y'all are still broken, and it's obvious that they haven't worked through what they really need to work through in their own marriage. And while they are definitely good friends, you can tell that they're definitely good life partners. I don't think you can tell that they haven't really addressed like the actual messiness and the fallout from what happened with that whole situation with August Alsina. So I was hoping for them to work through that, and they didn't really work through that at all. But it is what it is. And August Alsina, this new song, Entanglements, bruh. It's not a bad song. It kind of bops a little bit. It's cool. And shout out to Rick Ross, who really like was messy as hell as well on those songs. Talk about the Matrix and all that shit. But yeah, that song wasn't needed at all, and it was messy as hell. August Alsina, you are a messy dude. Like, I love August Alsina. I've been a fan of August since he came on the scene back in 2013, 2014. I've been a fan of him ever since he came onto the scene, and I love his music. So I'm a fan of August Alsina. A day one fan too. But yeah, this was a bad move in my opinion. You just released a whole album with like 30 songs on it that was pretty good, and you gonna release this like one-off called Entanglements. Like, it's just messy. Like, August, you grown. Like, stop being messy, bro. I understand that you want to take advantage of the moment, you know, get more clout off of this, because ain't nobody really buy your album like that. But come on, August, like, you know, be a man about yours and stop playing these messy games. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. But let me know what y'all think about that whole thing. But yeah, this corn might not be the best thing to eat on camera, but you know, fuck it. Shit, let me know what y'all think about the whole entanglement saga. Listen, if I hear another person say the word entanglement, I swear to God, I'll be over it. Alright. So about Kanye West. Kanye West, man. Y'all forgot, Kanye a Gemini. People who know me know that my least favorite sign, Geminis. I have a few in my life who I love. Shout out to JoJo, shout out to Miguel. But besides the few who I love in my life, Geminis, Lord. Oh, and shout out to Adeswa too. I love you too, Adeswa. Shout out to you. But besides the few Geminis that I rock with, most of y'all, being friends with Gemini is cool, but dating a one, Lord. All right, but yeah, Kanye. I just tweeted this, but I feel so much sadness in my heart for what's going on with him. And I know a lot of y'all can't stand him, a lot of y'all over him, y'all don't care, and I get it. I totally understand, because Kanye's been doing a lot lately, a lot. Not just this year, but in the past years, he's been doing a lot. But when I seen him in this whole, you know, campaign rally in South Carolina, he started crying and we talking about, you know, almost wanting to abort North and all that stuff, and started talking about his mom and his dad not wanting him and all that stuff. I just felt so bad, because I'm not bad, but I don't feel bad for him, but I just felt sad because I'm seeing a man literally showing us that he can't even deal with his own mental health, and a lot of people can't. But when I say that, I mean, like, This is someone who has all the money in the world to be able to get help. Has so many people around him at all times. You know, his family, his camp, you know, his business associates. So many people around him all the time, and yet he's showing that he can't bring himself to get the help that he not only that he needs, but also the help that you can tell that he wants, but he doesn't know how to get out of his own way to get it. So I feel so sad for him, especially right now, this dark time where some people are lost and they don't know what to do during this pandemic, you know, being in quarantine. A lot of people are really lost right now, and I feel like Kanye is just an example of a lot of people who are just really going through a dark time right now where they're lost and they don't really know what to do. And it's sad because unlike, you know, the common person in the world who might not have all the money or the time in the world to go and get, you know, counseling and all that stuff, it's like, Kanye, you're a billionaire, you know, you got mad people around you, you have so many resources, and you can't even like come to realization that you need help. It's just sad. It's sad. And also it's sad that this has to be coming about, and apparently what's going to be a new album cycle. Like, I really wish Kanye would have a rant for once that just didn't revolve around an album cycle. It didn't revolve around trying to sell some clothes. It didn't revolve around something. It just was him genuinely having something to say. And I feel like it kind of invalidates everything that's going on with him lately in terms of him trying to run as president, with him going on these rallies, with him announcing that he has an album coming out this Friday. Donda, named after his mom. And his mom just passed. The anniversary of his mother's death just happened, which also makes sense as to why he's kind of gone off the rails and had a recent bipolar episode. But I also just want to let you guys know that I think as a society, we don't have enough compassion and empathy for people who are going through manic or bipolar episodes. I can relate. In my own family, I've dealt with this, of dealing with somebody who knows they've done wrong, knows that they've had a lot of transgressions against people, but they can't take accountability for their own bullshit, and they can't take accountability for the fact that they know that they need to work it out with a therapist or somebody. They need to go and find help, and they just don't want to, you know, come to that realization and do what's best for themselves and for the people that love them. I know what this looks like, and so that's why it hits home for me. I'm seeing nothing but jokes online, nothing but, you know, fuck Kanye, all this stuff, and I get it, but you honestly realize that even with all the messiness stuff, all the messy stuff he's done, like, this is a man who's hurting, and it doesn't excuse all of his, you know, his past transgressions. It doesn't excuse it at all, but this is a guy who's hurting, doesn't know how to get help, and doesn't want to get help, and keeps bringing everybody down the world down with him, and keeps looping everybody in the world into his own BS because he can't deal with it. So it's I'm constantly in a state of being like mad and frustrated with him, but also feeling hella like sad for him and just like empathetic to the fact that you could tell like his mind is just running rampant with his own demons. Like, it really makes me sad to see this man who I look at as a king in terms of what he did for the world and did for music in his heyday, to see where he's at now. It just makes me so sad. This damn fly again. But you know, people can't get help until they want to get it. So at the end of the day, I'm gonna, you know, we all gotta pray for Kanye. We all gotta have empathy for him. But also still be able to hold him accountable for a lot of the messed up stuff he has said and done in the past, because mental health is not even an excuse for you know, a lot of, you know, really messed up behavior, especially when you have a public, you know, platform. So I definitely want to say that. But yeah, man, Kanye as president, that's a no-go. Chance the Rapper, I love you, my guy, but that's a no-go. Kanye is an amazing man, an amazing artist. When he's not on his BS, but for him to actually be trying to attempt to run for office, it's like, Kanye, we don't have nothing against you, and I don't understand why Chance the Rapper didn't get this. Just because, like, us not wanting Kanye to be president doesn't mean we hate him. It doesn't mean we don't rock with him. We just want somebody in office who has experience with actual government work. Joe Biden ain't perfect. He's had his own BS in his past too. We all have our own skeletons. Joe Biden's not perfect, but that man has experience in government, and he actually knows what he's doing in terms of how to work and how to move throughout the presidency. He was the vice president for 2 terms. Like, Kanye West don't know nothing about running this country. He don't know nothing about that. So for him to waste all of our time with his rhetoric and with his attempt at the office, it's like, bro, I'm over it. And I Chance the Rapper and other people like Elon Musk, who else? Terry Crews, everyone supporting him. It's like, what are y'all doing? Like, this has nothing to do with us hating Kanye. It's nothing to do. I love Kanye, but this man does not need to be in office. Like, what about that does not make sense? Come on, man. This man doesn't even have control of his own life. What makes you think he has the time, the mental energy, and the physical energy to really take care of the entire world? Nah, like, come on, man. Let's stop this BS. Let's stop it. Let's stop it. Come on. So that's my thoughts on Kanye. Late registration OD. Late registration because he did not get on the ballot in time in a lot of states. And I think that just shows you his own personality. Alright, Nick Cannon. So here's my thoughts on Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon talked, he went on some of these platforms talking about the fact that white people are more animalistic than black people and they're the real animals in our society. And when he was saying all that stuff, and he was saying stuff about Jews too. I think he was saying like Jews, like, I feel like he was saying something about Jews that apparently was anti-Semitic. I'm not really sure what he said was anti-Semitic, but apparently it was, so I respect that. But with what he was saying, I understood where he was coming from in terms of feeling like white people are the real animals in society. A part of me get what he was saying because, we've dealt with generations and generations worth of, animalistic brutality against black people at the hands of white people. We've seen that. It's documented. We know that. So that's documented. But I think the dangerous part of what Nick was doing was generalizing all white people. All black people are not the same. We don't all have the same group think. We don't all act the same. I think it's also dangerous to group all white people in the same vein. There are plenty of white people who have brutalized black people because of the color of our skin, and that's documented. But that's not a reason to go up on somebody's platform and say all white people are animals and they're the real animals. That's a very dangerous thought process to put out there, because there are plenty of white people who are allies and who are fighting with us in the liberation of our own people. And I know Nick knows that, but I just don't think he was able to articulate that the best way with what he did. But I stand with Nick because I know Nick is not a bad person. Nick is a great guy. We all know that. I just think he had a bad moment where he didn't really articulate himself in the best way, and he really had a bad a really bad lapse of judgment with what he said. But I also think it was corny that Viacom tried to use him as an example as to what happens when a black man speaks his mind in this country. You know what I'm saying? Because if it had been somebody else who was white and they said that, they would have been canceled for a little bit, but they wouldn't have got their whole shows, taken away from them. Nick has built, he really has built a lot of his own platforms with his own goodwill and with his own talent. So that talent is not going to go away just because he got canceled by Viacom. But I think so he'll be fine. But I also think it's corny that Viacom used him as an example, because I think Viacom could have said, you know what, Nick, or not even just Viacom, but in general, like Nick, and I think he already did come to that realization that he was wrong, and he did apologize, and he did, say like that was a bad choice of words, that was a lapse of judgment. So he acknowledged that. So there was no need for Viacom to like fire him across the board. I think that was just extra. And that's just another example of white people at the top using certain people as an example of why black men and women really are never encouraged to speak up and speak their own minds about how they feel about society, because they'll face way more repercussions than any white person will face. And that's a sad truth about this country. I think most of us can agree that Nick was wrong, but none of us I wouldn't have canceled Nick's shows, especially the shows that he built on his own, with his own goodwill and with his own talent. Like that was really extra in my opinion. But I wasn't surprised at all. You know, I really wasn't. So, Nick Cannon, I thank you for acknowledging that you were wrong. Thank you for being a man about your, you know, a man about your shit and just saying you were wrong, and you know, taking accountability. And more people should do that. So thank you, Nick Cannon, for that. But yeah, what Nick Cannon said was very wrong, and it was just a bad frame of mind. But I think he just wanted to have a moment. You know, a lot of times, a lot of celebrities are just looking for a moment, so they just say stuff without really thinking about it, and that's something that really gets a lot of people in trouble. We gotta be more careful about what we say, because words hold power, y'all. For real, for real. Never forget that. All right, Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez, man, two artists who are literally in the top 5 of the Billboard Hot 100 right now. Two artists who are just on fire right now. And two artists who apparently, I didn't really realize this, but apparently might have been a thing these past couple months. I didn't really know that. I didn't really see that, but I can kind of see it now maybe. So y'all know the story. You know, Tory and Megan were hanging out and, you know, in Hollywood somewhere with Kylie Jenner's house or some shit like that. And they were partying on, like, you know, on Saturday night a few weekends ago. Sunday morning they get pulled over by cops because apparently somebody heard some gunshots. They thought it was from far away, but apparently, allegedly, it was shots being fired inside the car where Tory and Megan were that they were in, and Megan wasn't arrested. Tory was arrested on a gun possession charge, but I think Megan was arrested, taken away to a hospital because her foot had got shot. There's been no conclusive evidence as to whether or not Tory did it, but allegedly it was Tory. Man. Tory Lanez, if you shot Megan, bro, you're done. And that it makes me sad to say, because I'm not even a big Tory stan like that, but I rock with his music, most of it. But man, Tory Lanez, if you shot Megan, bro, you're just showing your ass for your OD Napoleon complex, and you're also showing that you're showing your true colors as a man. If you're willing to shoot not only just a woman, which is wrong in itself, but if you're willing to shoot a woman, but not just any woman, but one of the biggest stars in the world right now, and also someone who you apparently were in a thing with, it's like, Tory Lanez, what were y'all arguing about that made you feel like that was okay to do? And I know that shit didn't happen by accident too. I know that shit didn't happen by accident. So Tory, what made you feel like it was okay to shoot Megan Thee Stallion in the foot, allegedly? And if that didn't happen, now I'm waiting to actually hear the real story. Megan ain't said shit about what happened. We ain't heard from Tory yet. But I'm trying to figure out what actually happened, because to me this is a major thing, and it really takes me back to the whole Chris Brown and Rihanna situation, because while there was nothing deadly about that situation, that also happened because of two people who were in a relationship, argued in a car, both at the top of their game in the industry, and shit got crazy, and we know the rest is history. So it really is giving me deja vu to that moment, and I don't want to connect those two together, but it does give me deja vu back to that moment, and it's sad because I feel like this is a situation that was so avoidable, especially on Tory's part, allegedly, and it makes you sad that Megan had to go through this, and also for the fact that like everyone thought it was a joke. The fact that everyone thought Megan getting shot was some funny shit over, like, you know, another internet story for the weekend. Like, nah, that's a real woman who really got shot in real life and had to deal with that shit in real life. Like, imagine getting shot by someone who apparently you were in a thing with, and you're one of the biggest stars in the world, so you know everyone and the mama's gonna find out about it in like 24 hours, and as we all did. Like, that shit is traumatic and embarrassing, and I can only imagine what Megan is going through right now. After she just lost her mother like last year. So like, y'all think it's a joke. Y'all think everything's a little joke, but it's not. This is Megan's real life and y'all are playing games. It wasn't funny. At all. But y'all gonna laugh at everything, you know? But yeah, that shit wasn't funny. Praise up for Megan. I'm glad she's okay. Tory Lanez, if you shot Megan, you're done. You will sucker for that. But if that didn't happen, I want you to come out and say what actually happened. Tory, we need to hear from you. But let me know what y'all think about that whole Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion situation below, because that shit's crazy. Alright, y'all, last thing I want to talk about before I get into music is talking about the new Billboard changes. So Billboard has finally decided to get rid of bundling, at least to a certain degree, for their charts, which I think is amazing. I've been looking forward to this day for a long time. I've never been a big fan of the whole bundling thing because I don't really buy a lot of merch anyways as it is. I'm not big on merch. I like to buy music, you know what I'm saying? And concert tickets, but I don't like to buy a lot of merch. That's just me. But for artists who are bundling stuff before, this is not gonna affect most artists, but it's gonna affect a small group of artists who have been using this tactic for a while now. You know, the Travis Scotts and the Ariana Grandes and the, you know, all those kind of people. It's gonna affect them. But Billboard decided to now cancel it so that the only way a bundle will count for an album sale is when it was an add-on to whenever a fan decides to buy music. So if you buy an album off like your artist's favorite site or whatever, you buy the vinyl, buy the CD, and if you decide to buy merch on top of that, then I guess like it gets counted as an album sale. But bundling an album with a concert ticket by itself or with merch by itself, that's done, which I love, because to me that was just a really inflated way of showing album sales for a lot of big artists. So I'm glad that they're now leveling the playing field, and now merch is not going to be as messy of a thing as it used to be back in, you know, before this happened. So I'm glad Billboard finally made these changes. It's been, you know, it's a long time coming. And like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing how it'll shake up. I don't think it'll shake up the charts in a major way, but I think it's definitely going to shake up the charts for some artists moving forward. So I'm looking forward to seeing, like I said, a more level playing field with the Billboard charts, because there's no reason why, you know, an album by one artist should be beaten by another artist because, you know, that artist happened to bundle their albums with, you know, concert ticket sales that are not going to happen for like months, or like some merch that the fan bought not knowing that they were gonna have an album with it. Like, so that's messy in my opinion. So I'm glad they're changing that for the better. So the Billboard, y'all still have a lot of work to do with a lot of other stuff, but good work for now with that. All right, y'all, now let's get into music. Let's talk about John Legend's album first, Bigger Love. So John Legend put out his 7th album, Bigger Love, last month in June. I think it's a really solid project. Kind of came and went for a lot of people. I don't think you even knew it came out, but to me it's a really solid project. John Legend's in his bag with his usual vocals, you know, smooth R&B vibes. He also has some different flavors on this album too. He has some reggae on this album, some flavors of like some other stuff too, some old school throwback joints as well. Even has a joint that's kind of like a rockish vibe as well. Like, you know, and he has like a social justice type of song with Never Break at the end. Overall, I think it's a really solid project. I think John Legend did his thing on it. This motherfucker can fly, bro. So, my favorite tracks off this album, I'll probably say Ooh La. I love that track. Ooh La. Actions, I put them in my BSM 14. Love that track. I also like the track You Move, I Move with Jhené. Great track. Let's see. Conversations in the Dark. I love that track. Don't Walk Away with Coffee is a cool track as well. It's a little reggae vibe. Remember Us, Rhapsody. Great track. And Never Break. All good tracks. So I'll probably give this album like a 3.5 out of 5. Let me know what y'all think about John Legend's album down below. Okay, City Girls. So. This is good. City Girls put out their 2nd album, City on Lock, the same week on June 19th or June 20th. Shit got leaked, which I'm really sad for with them, because I know they put a lot of hard work into this album, especially with this being the first album they put out after JT got released. This album was like a big moment for them, and it kind of got stunted because of the leak, which was sad, but you know, I'm glad they still put it out anyways. And it's done better than their last album anyway, you know, it's than Girl Code, so that's a good thing. But yeah, this album was okay. It was cool. I think highlights, Jobs, definitely Jobs. I hated Pussy Talk at first. I hated that track, but especially with the video, it grew on me. So I like Pussy Talk now with Doja Cat. I like that track. don't nothing but bat with his pussy top. I didn't like the track That Old Man. I didn't like that track at all. Let's see. I love the track Flued Out with Lil Baby. That's probably one of my favorite tracks off this album. Flued Out, it should be a single. I love Flued Out. Great track. Friendly. I also love Friendly too. Friendly, one of my favorite tracks off this album. I love Friendly. Friendly's a great track. And the intro was pretty cool too. Intro was pretty good. Enough Better. Pretty good intro. So, this album, I don't know what's going to go on with it moving forward in terms of the promo and all that stuff, because I feel like they weren't really ready to put it out. But it's still a pretty good album. But I'm waiting for the City Girls to really hit with the next album, like really hit. This one was kind of okay, but I'm waiting for them to really hit with the next project. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to the City Girls. Shout out to the City Girls, man. But yeah, let me know what y'all think about City Unlocked. Alright, y'all, August Alsina album. So August Alsina dropped his third album, The Product 3, State of Emergency, on June 26th. Right in the thick of all this drama with him and Jada and Will. And Lord, I don't know if August Alsina's intention was to have all this happen as his rollout, or if he just simply answered a question that Angela Yee asked him about the whole Jada thing. I don't know. But if August's intention was to use this stuff as his rollout, hell of a corny move. Especially because the album is like actually like a solid. It's really long. That's one thing I hate about this album, is that it's hella long for no reason. It's like an hour and a half. It's hella long, but musically it's a pretty solid album. There's a lot of filler on it, but the good tracks are really are cool. So, and like I said, I've been a fan of August Alsina, so it makes me sad that he couldn't have given us like a shorter and more succinct album with no filler on it. And I understand that he's been gone for like 5 years. Like, he hasn't put out an album in 5 years, so I get it. But you know what I'm saying, that doesn't mean we needed 30 tracks on the album, especially when there's a lot of these tracks are filler. And I can't even really point out a lot of my favorite tracks, because I feel a lot of these songs really sounded and felt the same. He had a lot of the same producers on these tracks, which is not always a bad thing. But I think with August, I feel like it would have helped for him to have had, like, you know, way more different producers or I don't know, just way more, like, I think it would have helped for him to have had like way more variety in sound. You know what I'm saying? That's just my thought. But some of the songs I remember loving off rip, or just like that, I think that my favorite tracks off the album, I'd say, are Nola. I didn't like Rounds at first, but I like Rounds now. Shout out to Rounds. Good video too. I think Lessons is good. Talking about how he's learning lessons in life. Let's see. I think I like Deliver Us. Real Recognize Real. Fly Far, I think I liked a lot. I like the track with Tank, As Soon As I Walk In. That was a nice sexy track. I think Tonight was good. Breaks with Yo Gotti was cool too. If We Broke Up was a really funny track, really interesting track. Shout out to If We Broke Up. Still Don't Know was cool. Talking about how y'all still don't know what's going on with me, even though y'all think y'all do. Yeah, so this album was pretty solid. I'll probably give it a 3 or 3.5 out of 5. Not a bad album at all, just way too long with a lot of filler on it. But I understand that, you know, he probably wants to just give us a lot of stuff because he hasn't been out in 5 years. But still, I feel like we didn't need all that. And I really wonder how this album would have done if August hadn't have mentioned this whole Jada thing. I really wonder. This album probably would have flopped, honestly, because the promo was really bad for this album. I know he put out like a documentary series on YouTube, which was cool, but putting out a documentary series on YouTube doesn't mean people always want to buy your album, especially if you're not a major star, you know what I'm saying? So, but that was cool to have for the album rollout, but I feel like his whole album rollout just got overshadowed by this whole Jada Pinkett-Smith thing. So, you know, that's the L he has to take on his own merit. But yeah, man. Alright, so now let's go to the July 3rd week. The only album I want to talk about from that week was obviously Mr. Pop Smoke's album, Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon. Shout out to Pop Smoke, rest in peace. Rest in Power King. Pop Smoke is someone I literally was like getting into like literally around the time he died, which is crazy. And I just feel like I wasn't a huge fan, because I was, like I said, I was still getting into him. But man, the potential with this dude was off the charts. So it makes me sad that back to back, I'll talk about Juice WRLD next. Back to back, we had to release 2 major albums in hip hop by 2 guys who passed away that has so much potential. So it makes me really sad to talk about these 2 albums, but let's do it. So Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon was a pretty good album. Let's see. That cover art that Virgil Abloh created, bro, Virgil, come on, bro. Trash. Trash. How you gonna do this man's legacy like that? Trash. But the album is pretty solid. Obviously, it was stuffed with features because of his death. And I really would have liked to have seen and known what the album would have been like, or what this next project would have been like if he had still been alive. You know, I really wonder what he would have molded it to be like with his own vision, you know, but we'll never know. But even though it had so many features on it, it was still a pretty solid project. Some favorites, I'll probably say For the Night with Lil Baby and the Baby. I think I like 44 Bulldog a lot. I love Gangsters, that's a nice track. I forgot which one sampled 50 songs. I think, was it Gangster that sampled 50 song? I can't remember. Whatever. The Wool was pretty, I like the Wool. She wanna vote with a Wool. I saw the video with 50 and Roddy Ricch. That's a good video. Ooh. Shit. Huh? He's so good as hell. Let's see. I like Something Special. That was a cool track. What You Know About Love. Shout out to King Combs. But I didn't like Diana at all. It's my opinion. I didn't like that. I love Got It On Me. Because I got it on me. Great track. And obviously I love Dior, obviously. He just put out a deluxe edition on his birthday like 2 days ago. That has a bunch of new tracks on it. And I'm trying to see. Out for this deluxe edition, I only heard it one time. But I know I love the track Hotel Lobby. I like Hotel Lobby. I like Showing Off Part 2 a lot. I didn't like Part 1, but I like Part 2 a lot. Let's see what else I liked. Tsunami with Davido. With Davido, I gotta give that one another listen. That one was okay to me. I love She Feeling Nice with Jamie Foxx. I love that track. That's a good track. That's a hit right there. She Feeling Nice is a nice one. Paranoia with Young Thug and Gunna. That was cool too. I like the Yeah remix with Queen Naija. Cool track. And Enjoy Yourself with Burna Boy. Great track as well. So yeah, man, really long album, especially with the deluxe edition. But I think his albums are pretty good, like, you know, summation of his legacies as it was before he passed away. Shout out to all the artists that helped out with the project. I think it's a pretty solid album. I'll probably give it like I'll probably give this album like maybe a 3.5 out of 5. Yeah. I think it would have been a 4 if we would have gotten like less of the artists and more of pop, you know. But I think with what they had, I think they put this album together pretty well. So I can't front about that. Yeah, I definitely give it like a 3.5 out of 5. 4 on a good day. But yeah, this album had a few tracks I did enjoy, like Creature with Sway Lee, Diana, the King Combs. Yeah, but for the tracks that I did like, it was a pretty solid album. I love that he had like a lot of samples from 50 Cent, who was like, you know, his like, you know, he was like the reincarnation of 50 Cent for the new generation, so that makes sense. Shout out to 50 for putting the album together as well, for executive producing it. I think he did a pretty good job, but I also feel bad that he like distanced himself from the project, because he said like, you know, like Pop Smoke's team and like I think it's the label, like they weren't really putting this together for his legacy. They were putting it together for all the money and for, you know, all the financial opportunities that can come from the album, which is sad, but that's also the name of the game. So, you know, it is what it is, man. But I think it's a pretty solid album. Alright, now let's talk about Juice WRLD's album, Legends Never Die. This is an album that really took me by surprise. Not only by how much it sold in this past week, but also by how good it was. Because Juice WRLD really showed that, I always thought that Juice WRLD was just going to really stay in hip-hop for a while. But even off of this album already, he showed that he was ready to go into like to the rock alternative, you know, arena so quick in his career. And not only just do it, but also do it very well too. Like his like emo, rap, punk rock, alternative sound, he does it so well. And like he still has a hip hop essence through and through. But I don't know, like this kid just has so much potential. I've said it in countless videos in the past. I think I was talking about the Grammys. I've said before that Juice WRLD has so much potential to be one of the greatest artists of our generation. I feel like his sound was so good. His voice was great. His tone was great. This dude could make like, apparently he could make songs like so quickly, and you could see that too. Like he was so good in the booth. His melodies were insane. He was a good songwriter. I don't know. He was just such a great artist. I just wanted him to start talking about drugs, and I said that time and time again. Not only because I wanted him to really widen his fan base and to widen his scope of what he talked about. but also because I really want a lot of these artists to, and a lot of these rappers to really be more careful about what they're rapping about. Because a lot of things you rap about, you bring to you. Like 50 Cent said, and I think he was talking to somebody, he was like, a lot of things you rap about, you bring to you. When you rap about death, you bring it to you. But he really did rap a lot about drugs, and he really did say that his death was going to be through drugs, and look what happened. So I really want a lot more rappers to be more careful about what they're rapping about, what they're saying, because like I said before, words hold power, you know what I'm saying? It's just sad because he really was a whole genius, and I feel like we'll never get to see what the genius that he was supposed to be and the staple that he was going to be in music, which is just makes me hella sad. And this was a hard album to listen to. I was listening to the album and I was enjoying it, but I was also just hella sad because I'm like, this man's not here no more. And on top of that, he's literally talking about on the album about how like drugs will be his downfall. He talked about it so much, and to know that that actually came true, it's like, it was such a spooky listen, you know. Constantly in a state of feeling like happy because the album is great, but sad because we'll never have this man around again for him to give us his amazing music again. And also feeling like really spooked out by the fact that like Juice WRLD was like, you know, he was already like predicting his own death, and the way it went down and the way he was illustrating on this album was just like really like spooky and just like weird and really like just like, and really saddening, you know, really made me sad. So yeah, man, rest in peace to Juice WRLD. He was gonna be one of our greats. I really feel that he was gonna be one of our greats, and now we'll never know what he could have been. But I think he really just showed his genius on this album. Some of my favorite songs, I'm trying to remember. I think I really liked Titanic. I think I liked Bad Energy a lot. Let's see, what else? Tell Me You Love Me with Trippie Redd. I love that track. Tell Me You Love Me. Trippie was good on that hook. I love that track. Hey, The Other Side was cool. Live Semester with Halsey. Live Semester is a great track. I love the videos that that artist is making with him. I love those videos. Come and Go with Marshmello. Great like, you know, EDM rock alternative track. Great track. Wishing Well was cool. Yeah. But like honestly, this whole album was really good. Like there's only a few tracks I didn't like. I didn't like Blood on My Jeans at all. I didn't like that track. And I didn't like I Want It. I think those are the only tracks I really didn't like off the album. Oh, and I didn't like Up Up and Away either. I think those are the only three tracks I didn't like off the album. But besides that, this album is pretty solid. So shout out to Juice WRLD, man. Rest in peace, rest in power, King. And thank you to his team for giving us a solid project, man. For real, solid project. Now let's move on to Dinner Party, the new album by Terrace Martin, Robert Glasper, Ninth Wonder, and Kamasi Washington. Dinner Party is a whole vibe, y'all. Love this album. It's a really nice blend between R&B, hip-hop, and jazz, with all four of these brilliant artists and producers working on this album. It's a nice, like, cute, you know, short listen. It's like an EP of just really good, breezy, you know, introspective folk vibes on this whole thing. I love it. And I feel like Dinner Party is a good title because it really does feel like a dinner party with just four friends getting together and jamming out. And like you could tell there wasn't really a lot of like pretentious thought being put into this album. They didn't have to think too hard about it. They just jammed out and had Felix and some other singers just come on and give you a vibe with some vocals. And this album really just felt like a really cool live jam session with all four of these brilliant artists just getting together, doing what they do best, you know, just playing together, you know, feeding off each other's vibes and giving us a really great album of really groovy, timeless songs that just feel good, you know what I'm saying? Some of my favorite tracks, I think I'll say, I like Sleepless Nights. I love Love You Bad. I Just Wanna Love You Bad. I love that track. I like the instrumental tracks like First Responders, Mighty Tree. And I love Freeze Tag. Obviously, Freeze Tag is one of my favorite songs of the year so far. Man, they told me put my head beside my head. Love that track. Yeah, so shout out to Felix on these tracks. And I love that this album was like a capsule of where we're at now. You know, with tracks like, you know, First Responders, you know, dedicated to, that was like a, you know, cool jam session dedicated to the First Responders right now. And Freeze Tag, talking about police brutality. But I love how everything is being done like a really smooth, jazzy R&B, you know, boom bap hip hop kind of way. So it's not in your face, but it's a vibe. And that really suits all these guys too. So it's a really good album. Yeah, man, really good album. I'll probably give it a 4 out of 5. Great project. Shout out to Terrace Martin, Robert Glasper, Ninth Wonder, Kamasi Washington. Y'all killed this project. It's a nice breezy listen. Great album. So definitely go check it out if you haven't already. One last album I want to talk about is Kyle's album See When I'm Famous. That just came out this past Friday on July 17th. Shout out to Kyle. This album was cool. It was okay. Had a few filler tracks for me. Not an amazing project, but I love Kyle as an artist, so I'm glad he finally put out his sophomore album. It's pretty cool. I think some of my favorite tracks I'll probably say are Money Now. Girls is a cool track. Shout out to Rico Nasty. I like Girls. I like Yes with Richard Kidd and K Camp. Yes is cool. I like What It Is. If That's What It Is. The Sun was a really interesting track. That was a track I didn't expect. That was really like breezy, like really soft, mellow, romantic R&B track. That really was like really different for Kyle, but I like how he did it. And yeah, I like the last track too, See When I'm Famous with Ace, Chica, and Too Short. That was a good track as well. So this album was really like about him like getting to his bag of being famous and kind of seeing where he's at now and reflecting on that time in his life where he was in high school and he wanted to be famous so badly. He wanted to like be a rapper and kind of like seeing how that journey was from where he was at then to where he's at now when he finally achieved his dream. So it's a really cool album in that way. But musically, it was just kind of like okay. I feel like, you know, it's not really a standout album, but it's a cool listen. You know, it's a cool listen. So shout out to Kyle for getting his next album out. I don't think it's gonna do that well because the promo was pretty terrible for this album. The promo was really bad, but I bet you even know it came out. But I like Kyle, so I knew it was coming out. But yeah, this album the promo could have been way better. And but I wish the best for Kyle because it's a solid project. And the last album I want to talk about in depth is the third album by Lianne La Havas, self-titled, called Lianne La Havas. I love her. She's a really dope artist from the UK. Who does like R&B and neo soul. She's a great artist. I love her sound, I love her music, I love her voice. She's a really chill person with good music. She finally released her third album after 5 years. Her last album came out in 2015 called Blood. That was a cool project as well. Got Grammy nominated, which I was surprised at, but it's a good album, so I'm not mad at it. But yeah, if you're into neo soul R&B vibes and you're looking for a new artist to get into, check out Lianne La Havas if you haven't already. She's a really great artist. I love this album. This album is really solid from head to toe. It's really an album about her coming into her own and where she's at now in her life after having been gone from the industry for like 5 years. She went through a breakup, went through a lot of stuff personally, and now she's finally ready to come back to the world. So it's kind of all about that. And kind of her journey from, you know, her breakup and her journey to self-realization and her journey to where she's at as a woman now. Really good album in that way. Some of my favorite tracks off this album. I love Bittersweet. I loved her vocal on Bittersweet. Bittersweet was a really great track. Loved her vocal on that track. Loved the vocal on that track. Probably my favorite track off this album, Read My Mind. I love this track. Such a breezy, romantic, really like chill, like just swaying song. That's kind of about getting those butterflies when you first meet someone and you feel like they can read your mind and you feel like y'all are meant to be together. Like and y'all just started out, but you can already feel the butterflies. Like really good song. Love the instrumental, love the breezy way it's written and the way it was performed. I love that track. Read My Mind. Love that track. So that's probably my favorite track off this album. Can't Fight is cool. Paper Thin is a cool ballad. I couldn't really get into Weird Fishes at first, but Weird Fishes is cool. It's a cover of a song by I think a band called by Radiohead, by a song they have called Weird Fishes. It's a cool track. I love the track Please Don't Make Me Cry. Really nice like R&B, like kind of like early 2000s vibe. I like that track. I like Seven Times as well too. Seven Times, I think she said was like her Blue Cantrell moment. That's a nice song that kind of feels like a early 2000s R&B song as well. Really cool song. And Sour Flower. I love Sour Flower. It was a cool way to end off the album. It's a term her mother used, her grandmother used all the time in Jamaica, talking about how like, you know, we all have our stuff we're going through in our own life. and it's our sour flower. We all gotta deal with it. So, I like how she like embraced that term for this album. Really cool song. But yeah, overall, I'll probably give this album a 4 out of 5. I love this album. Really solid project by Lianne Havas. I love her, and I'm glad she finally put out her next album because it's been so long. So I'm glad we finally got it, and it's a really good project. So definitely go check it out if you haven't already. Good project. I just want to mention some other albums and EPs that came out recently, but I'm not gonna talk about them in depth. First up is Wale's EP, The Imperfect Storm. I love this EP. I love every track on it. Really great job by Wale. He was in his bag with the lyrics, with the messaging, with everything. He really was like a great capsule of what's going on in the world right now. So I love Wale's EP. So go check that out. The Imperfect Storm was a great EP. CeeLo Green, part of the album that's pretty solid, called CeeLo Green is Thomas Callaway, which I think is his real name. So that's a really cool album. It's kind of like a throwback jazz, throwback R&B album. Really solid album. A new sound for CeeLo Green. He really threw it back. I like the sound of this album. Really good album. So go check it out. Black put out an EP called 6 Piece Hot. Really good EP. Solid EP. Some of my favorite tracks on this EP. Know My Rights with Lil Baby. I love Know My Rights. Elephant in the Room is pretty cool. I like Outside. Yeah, really cool EP. That's another like snapshot of what's going on in the world right now, and Black where he's at in his life right now. Really good EP. So go check out 6 Piece Hot. Great EP by Black. JoJo put out a acoustic version of her Good to Know album. So go check out my review of that album if you haven't already. I like Good to Know. It's a great album, and the acoustic version of the album honestly was great because it really brought out the life of every song in her album. And I think that's something more artists need to do more often right now, especially in this time right now where artists have time to just record. I think a lot of artists should consider making acoustic versions of either new albums or older albums, because it really, like JoJo's acoustic album really did bring out the life in every song off Good to Know. Like, if you don't like the song Good to Know, if you listen to the acoustic version, you'll probably like it way more. So, and obviously she was showcasing her amazing vocals as always. Shout out to JoJo with her amazing vocals. She kills it. So that's a great album to go check out if you haven't already. Avant put out a new album called Can We Fall in Love. Pretty solid project. I can't complain about it too much. Pretty solid project. Maybe like a few tracks are filler, like 2 tracks are filler, but overall it's a pretty solid project. So I like to go check it out. Jhené put out the deluxe edition to her Chilombo album. Great little addition to the Chilombo era. I loved it. Some of my favorite tracks off this deluxe edition. All good. On the Way with Billie J, her sister. Great track, great sexy track. I didn't like the Kehlani remix of BS. I didn't like Kehlani's remix of BS. I love Kehlani. I love Kehlani. I loved Kehlani on it in theory, but I thought Kehlani's verse was too short, and I didn't like the way she vibed on that track. I didn't like it. I love Trying to Smoke with Chris Brown and Snoop Dogg. I love that track. I love Down Again with Wiz Khalifa and Summer 2020. I love that video too, where Jhené Aiko just talking about how she feels about the war right now, everything that's going on. I love Summer 2020. Great track. Shout out to Jhené Aiko. I love the Chilombo Deluxe Edition. It was great. And lastly, Pink Sweats put out an EP called The Prelude, which I think is a prelude to his album. Really good EP. I love Give It To Me. I love At My Worst, 17, Lows. Really romantic, breezy R&B EP by Pink Sweats, who you already stop sleeping on. He's a great artist. I love how he can do like modern R&B too, but also do like throwback, acoustic R&B too as well. Really good guy, really good artist. I love how he has his own sound, his own like vision. So go check out his EP called The Prelude. Great project. But yeah, man, so that's pretty much it, y'all. That was episode 16 of The Drop. Hope y'all enjoyed it. I know it's all over the place, but there's a lot to cover, so I had to do it. But yeah, man, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And like I always say, y'all, live your best life, drink more water, stay woke. And if you're mad or sad, go listen to your favorite song, make you feel better, okay? Go listen to your favorite song. But hope you guys stay sane, take care of yourselves, stay up, during these hard times. Do what you gotta do to take care of yourself. And yeah, man, I'll catch y'all next time, okay? Appreciate it. Alright, y'all, this has been your boy Bright, the R&B Kid. Thank you for watching, but for now, I'm signing off, baby. Bye, y'all. Peace.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no. I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't Don't worry about nothing, no, no, no. Relax just a little bit. You don't gotta worry, you can just